Another day, another dollar, another day where people do the crime but can't do the time. Another one of these videos where people get sentenced to life and they can't take it. I'm starting to get more interested. I know it's about the time and it's about the reaction that people, have to getting out a life sentence. But I'm starting to get more interested in the crime that's committed than the actual reaction. I don't know. I've always been like one of those true crime type people. Like even when I drive, like do long drives and I'm going like from state to state, I listen to true crime documentaries, things like that. I've always been one of those true crime people, so it kind of piques my interest. But anyway, people who get sentenced to life sentences but they can't take it. So with no further ado, let's get into the video.
Some people can't help but spread their views and opinions wherever they go, but I think most people would give it a rest when they're facing a life sentence. Not this guy though. When this man's sentence was read out, he freaked out at the judge.
One thing to tell you, Judge, and that is that only Jesus Christ can judge me. Yes, all right? You.
He said that he doesn't care what the judge says because only God can judge him. While that may be true, the judge's judgment does still mean this guy goes to prison for a long time. This probably did not win him any sympathy with the judge.
You judge people as if your tongue is a gavel, and you prosecuted a lot of innocent people.
The guy really seems to be angry and uncontrolled. He was probably incredibly nervous and had a lot of adrenaline because he knew he was going to be going to jail for a long time. Amazingly, the judge stayed totally calm and collected during this whole outburst. Eventually, a cop actually had to come into the defendant's area and turn off his microphone.
Yeah,
the man
bro.
then tries to leap.
Yeah, like, we not trying to hear all that, bro. Go to the back. Go to the cell. We're not trying to hear all that you're trying to talk about. People, like, I get it, you're in court, but people also don't understand that this is a job for some people. So, this is a job. So, at the same time, people trying to go home, we're not trying to sit up there and listen to you ramble and make the court procession be longer than what it needs to be. Judge, I need you to sentence and I need you to hush. I'm trying to go home. You feel me? I got pizza rolls in the oven. I'm trying to go.
Over the desk and turn the microphone back on, but he's then stopped and removed by a cop.
I'm gonna let you do the same to me. You're standing mistaken, my friend.
Yeah, leave him there. Oh. Just shut down.
I guess if your job is a court judge, then you never have a boring day. Dustin Armstrong. This one takes place in Iowa, United States. When he was 20 years old, he badly injured a toddler. The judge sentenced him to 50 years in prison. This means he's going to be 70 before he gets out.
He is a coward, and forgiveness is not an option for me.
After everyone had their...
Wait, badly injured a toddler how? Badly injured a toddler, like, in what way? You gotta give more detail to that. Badly injured a toddler. What did he do to the toddler? How did the toddler get hurt? I don't know, I get curious, so I need background information. Especially if you get 50 years. 50 years. What did you do, Dustin? What did you do? What did you do to that toddler to get 50 years, man?
Chance to speak in this Wapello County courtroom, it was Dustin Armstrong's chance to say something about what he'd done.
Do you have anything you wish to say to me prior to my announcing what I'm going to do here today, sir?
Sadly, he grabbed Braden Young, who was only 2. He then threw him up against a wall, breaking his jaw and injuring his head. This led to Braden getting terrible brain damage and also broken bones. The judge actually gave Dustin the option to say if he was sorry or not, but Dustin refused and said no, Your Honor, instead.
Do you have anything you wish to say to me prior to my announcing what I'm going to do here today, sir?
No, Your Honor.
Dustin does seem remorseful as he is crying, but do you think he's crying for himself or for what he's done? Some actually say that 50 years in prison is not enough for what Dustin did.
No, that's
but
not
what
enough.
do you?
No, that's not enough. There's a chance that he may live to be 70. There's a chance that he may live to be 70 and get out. That baby is going to have brain damage for the rest of his life. You threw a healthy baby against the wall, broke his jaw, and gave the baby brain damage. I need to know, is he related to the baby? How did he get in close proximity to the baby? Is he a babysitter? What? How did this happen? Is he a boyfriend? You gave a baby brain damage, sir, by throwing it against a wall.
Is this sentence appropriate or not? Darla Jackson.
Wow.
Road rage is something we all get, but when used at the wrong time, it can turn dangerous. In 2015, Darla Jackson from California got bad road rage. That's when she collided with a 39-year-old Navy Chief Petty Officer named Zach Buob. He was on his motorcycle and this led to him passing away. Darla pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 6 years in prison. But when she was sentenced, she burst into tears.
Commit you to the Department of Corrections, Ms. Jackson, for the middle term of 6 years for the reasons I've stated.
Darla Jackson burst into sobs as the judge hands down her sentence. Time she will serve for the voluntary prosecutors argued Jackson ran over.
I'm quite surprised she was so sad because 6 years is not much for what she did.
Yeah.
Some online said she deserves life in prison because the man lost his life. When it happened, Darla was driving at over 93 miles per hour. She chased Zach across 4 lanes of highway. But despite all of this, she still was upset at getting 6 years.
I know a lot of awful things were said about me that made a lot of you believe that I did this on purpose. I'm not that.
But believed Jackson still deserved time in prison.
You stabbed a firefighter?
If I was her, I would count myself lucky.
But at a certain point, you have to have self-control and know it's not that serious. You were okay, he was okay. I understand road rage is a huge thing. Now, I just say I would get road rage bad, but I don't get to the point where I'm chasing people across 4 lanes. I almost got ran off the highway, what was it, yesterday. I held my horn, and I yelled in my car. But I've never thought to just chase somebody across 4 lanes driving at 93 miles per hour. That's a little bit different, man. That's a little bit different, yeah. Yeah, 6 years.
Keeson Wilkins.
She can do that.
Keeson Wilkins was sentenced to 42 years behind bars. This took place in Dayton, Ohio in 2008. He was acting as his own attorney, and he was convicted of many felony charges. This includes injuring people. Now, you may be wondering why no one freaks out. After all, he does faint, and then he appears to have a heart attack.
We're going to take a break, ladies and gentlemen. If you'll please step out.
Yeah, nobody good. Everybody just
should reflect that the defendant is slouching.
Well, the reason why no one seems to care is because he was faking it.
Oh.
Medical staff did come over to try and assist him, but they later found out nothing was wrong. He was faking it.
That's not giving you no sympathy, dog. I mean, good try. I'll give you an A for effort, but that's not, yeah, that's... You thought the medical team wouldn't be able to find out that you're faking it, bro? These are professionals. These are not amateurs. That's not giving you no sympathy, bro, but I'll give you an A for effort, but...
Quite normal.
Look at him.
Doesn't appear to be labored in any way. Is that a fair assessment, sir?
Yes.
It's not labored in any manner.
This seems to be something that people do a lot in court. Some even say that Suge Knight, the rapper, faked fainting in court.
No, Suge.
Chris McNabb. In 2017, Chris McNabb was arrested in Atlanta. This was because he took the life of his 2-week-old baby. He was given a life sentence plus decades more behind bars. He was brought up on so many charges that it was about 89 years. But of course, these charges do depend on various factors, for example, how he acts behind bars. But how he was sentenced was so strange that it went viral. Chris denied doing anything the entire time. The judge said to Chris, if you're innocent, then what do you think the sentence should be for the person who did do this?
You claim you're innocent, so you tell me what sentence the man or woman that you claim did this should receive.
That's when Chris said that whoever did this deserves to be under the jail.
If you ever find out who did them, they deserve to be under the jail.
Okay, so they ought to get the maximum sentence.
Most definitely.
Okay.
This means life plus more behind bars. So then the savage judge gave him that exact sentence.
On the crime of malice murder, I sentence you to life in confinement without parole. On concealing the death of another, I sentence you to 10 years in confinement consecutive or after. Count 1. Do you understand each of your sentences?
Yes, sir.
So he basically let this guy inadvertently choose his own sentence.
Wait, bro. Are your eyebrows shaved off and you got something tattooed over? Or do you have eyebrows? Or is that your glasses? What's that even say on your forehead? What does your forehead say? It say locked up. Something. I can't read this, bro.
Consecutive or after. Count one. Do you understand each of your sentences?
Yes, sir.
So he basically let this guy inadvertently choose his own sentence. Maybe if this guy said the person who did this should receive a small sentence, he would have got a smaller sentence. But I think the judge knew what he was going to say and played a mental trick. Brandon Spencer. This one took place in 2014 in California, USA. A 21-year-old man named Brandon Spence was part of a gang. On Halloween night, he went to a party. That's when the 21-year-old gangster saw a rival at the same party. He opened fire but accidentally injured 4 people. According to the prosecutor, Brandon was a well-known gangster. And that's when he was given the sentence, 40 years to life. Considering he's only 21, that is a long time in jail.
Clark Jr. before sentencing.
I'm sorry for what happened, Your Honor, but you life in prison. And I'm not a bad person, but I made mistakes.
That's when he began crying and even banged his head on the table.
He's going through it.
But perhaps he does deserve this. After all, 4 innocent people were injured. His defense said that he had a stable job as a security guard. But
Stupid,
according to the
man.
prosecutor, he was a gangster, so I guess he wasn't that great of a person anyway. What do you think about this very, very long sentence?
That's what I'm saying. You can't do the crime. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. You can't do the... If you're not mentally prepared to do that time, bro, don't do it. And if you don't know what the time is of that crime before you do a crime, you should know, if I get caught, the max sentence is going to be this. This is what I'm facing if I get caught. You big and bad in the party, shooting up a party, you get sentenced to 40 years in prison, you in here crying. If you can't do it, bro, you're not ready for that. You shouldn't.
April Stone.
Not ready for it, bro.
This one takes place in Buffalo, New York. In 2010, a 33-year-old woman named April Stone was arrested. She took the life of a man named Lincoln Burks. She also stole Burks' credit card and his car. Burks was a lonely 72-year-old man, which makes this even worse. She was given a 21-year sentence.
Plus post-release supervision of 5 years. The mandatory surcharge of $300 is hereby...
And the woman could not even look at the judge when he was reading out her sentence. She covered up her face and began crying uncontrollably.
Probably $5 plus a $50 DNA databank fee. All to be paid out of prison funds. You have 30 days within which to file a notice of appeal.
She actually had to be escorted out of the courtroom by cops. And when this was going on, she cried even more and even louder.
33-year-old April Stone, as you just saw and heard sobbing, was sentenced to 21 years to life in prison for first-degree manslaughter. She pleaded guilty to killing 72-year-old Lincoln Burks during a robbery at his...
David Moran.
Stole his credit card and his
David
car.
Moran was at the age where most kids go to college. But instead, he thought it was cooler to go down a different path. This was the life of a gangster. David said that he thought the lifestyle was cool. But in court, he was asking for mercy and also crying.
To look at what I've done and who I am, to be quite honest, I'm scared of who I had become.
The privileged teenager played the dangerous role of gangster and got...
He did a burglary, but it went wrong and was foiled. The prosecutor said he could have easily taken someone's life. He broke into a house with duct tape and a hatchet. On his social media, he had many posts with illegal things, as well as lots of money. Because what he did was so bad, the judge did not care about his crying. He was...
So you love the lifestyle, but you don't love what come with it. That's what it really is. You love the perks of the lifestyle, the money, things like that, the jewelry, the designer stuff, fast, quick money, but you're not ready for the consequences. That's what I'm saying. If you're not ready to face the consequences, bro, of whatever decision you make, if you're not ready to face the most maximum consequence of what can happen, don't do it. Don't do the action. Don't do it. Because you never know when that consequence may happen to you. You never know. So if you're not ready for it, leave it alone. I'm telling you, it's not worth it. Leave it alone.
Sentenced to a minimum of 6 years in prison for what he did. This took place in 2015, meaning he'll likely be out next year. Let's hope that he does turn his life around and doesn't do any more bad things.
The haze of the drugs has worn off as I've matured and seen the lifestyle that I thought was cool. Realized how horrible everything that I've done over the past year.
Melissa Gillette. This one took place in 2015 in Minnesota, USA. Melissa Gillette took the life of 36-year-old Jason Nyberg. She did this using some pills that she bought. Jason was actually in prison himself at the time. It's not known if Jason actually wanted to pass away from these pills or not. Maybe he just wanted them because they can be used as currency behind bars. And also it helps to pass the time because prison can be very boring. Either way, it's against the law. And that's why Melissa got 86 months behind bars for what she did. She said that she screwed up and was crying as well.
For what happened to him. He was my best friend.
She didn't mean to do it. This much was clear inside Judge Tom Neville's Rice County courtroom.
I screwed up. I relapsed. I was clean for 10 years. I didn't plan to murder him. I didn't plan on going into the prison and then having him die. I made a mistake.
You don't have to have intent to kill in order to be.
Why not you say
It's kind of ironic that she took someone's life in prison, and then Melissa ended up in prison herself.
Why don't you say 6
Andrew
years?
McCormack.
You do all that math for no reason.
This one took place in Boston in 2017. Andrew McCormack took the life of his wife, Vanessa. He did this by putting a trash bag over her head. Andrew then took their baby and fled in a car. He tried to clean his house with bleach, but failed. Vanessa said that she wanted to sell the house and divorce him. But Andrew said in a text message, "You're crazy, I will never divorce you." When he was sentenced, he began crying in court.
Andrew McCormack shook his head and cried as prosecutors described how
and stab wounds on her neck.
Investigators say she also had her teeth knocked.
He was sentenced to life without parole. This means he'll be confined to a cell for the rest of his days. I mainly feel sorry for his baby who's lost a mother and father. Morel Brooks. One day Marcel was babysitting a 2-year-old. That's when he shook the 2-year-old, which led to the 2-year-old breaking his bones and his spine. It also left him with some brain damage. For some reason, he began ranting and raving in court.
For the record, I would like my lawyer to adopt my motion.
Your motion's been denied, and I explained the reason. There's only conclusions here, no facts.
That's when the judge freaked out and got really angry. He was sentenced to 15 years for what he did.
Yeah, I get angry too. He don't seem like he's taking this serious, man. You caused a baby, you caused a healthy child brain damage. A 2-year-old, a defenseless child, brain damage for the rest of his life. You broke his bones. You shook a baby that hard that you caused it brain damage. Babysitting. That's another thing. Being a parent has to be so hard because you just can't trust people. Babysitting, man. I don't know if I could trust you around my children. You gotta, stuff like this really gets to me, man. Like, not kids, man. A baby can't defend itself. You shook a baby till it has brain damage. You changed that baby's life forever. I'd be upset too, and I'd give him more than 15
Even
years.
winked and smiled at the family of the victim in court.
Assistance fee, and it's all to be paid out of prison funds. You have 30 days within which to file a notice of appeal.
I would like to put that in right now.
You're going to sign right here.
I want to notice of appeal?
Yep.
Some say for this, he should have got even longer in prison, but what do you think? Now it's time to make your voice heard. Comment below who had the biggest freak out in court. If you want some...
Man, they freak out weren't too bad, but like I said, man, not kids, dude. I would give him more than 15 years, especially with the attitude he seemed to have in court. He's like it's all cool, like you not in court for. Like it's cool, like it's straight, like it's Tuesday. That's how he's acting in court, like it's a regular Tuesday. I don't know, that one really good. I just don't like when people mess with kids. But anyway, that's gonna be it for my video, y'all. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll be back with you guys next time. I'm out.